Welcome to the All About You podcast. My name is Sheila and I am your host. In this podcast, I invite people to tell their stories of their travels, hobbies, and passions. These podcasts are also now available on my All About You YouTube channel. So if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story. Welcome to another conversation on the All About You podcast. And today my guest is Alen, who is the owner of a bookshop in Valencia called Book Lovers. We're recording in his bookshop and we're going to be going into the world of books, reading and owning a bookshop. Alen, welcome to the podcast.
Sheila, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm really excited that we are recording in the bookshop, which I think is fantastic. So Alen, my first question: where did your love of books and reading come from?
Oh, it started as a child. My father was always reading, and I wish he would play football with me like every other father played, but he was reading all the time. And what was left for me then just to grab the book and read, and he encouraged that. And that's how it started.
So do you have a favourite author or genre of books?
Last year or two, I'm really crazy about Nordic noir. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Scandi authors, Norwegian, Finnish, and Swedish authors. And they are so realistic that actually it triggered something in me, and I'm actually finishing my own book that's going to be in a similar genre.
So you are writing a book?
Yeah, I wrote a few non-fiction books, but this one will be crime, mystery, thriller book.
You've written books already. How many books have you written?
There are now 6 or 7 on Amazon, but there are non-fiction. They're about business. That was my career for many years. About selling. One title, if I may share, it's called Selling is Better Than Sex. And people always say, no, it's not. And then I encourage, no, buy the book, I'll do it. And then we're going to talk. And that's how I sell books. I mean, I was in sales for many, many, many years. And I wrote a few books, and I got some public speaking engagements, trainings from my books, and it's fun, but it's not my passion, right? You know, my passion is about sharing a story, personal story. Like this podcast is personal story that's included in a mystery or crime or thriller.
Well, we'll have to include the link to all your books in the podcast because
no worries.
Your wife hasn't told me that you've written books.
No, it's a different life, right? My previous life. So it's just, yeah.
Let's talk about reading. Mm-hmm. Now, we've got books, we've got e-books, we can read on our phone. Where do you read? Do you have like a little reading nook? Do you read at a certain time of the day?
Before we moved to Valencia, I had my reading corner, but now we are in a place where I don't have a space, so I need to read here in my bookstore when there are no people here, or at home. But when kids go to bed, I have small kids, so it's always busy with them. So in the evening,
One thing I've discovered since coming to your bookshop in Valencia here, for the first time in a very, very long time, I've been reading an actual book as opposed to reading on my Kindle. My Kindle is great for travelling and I've got over 200 books, which is fine. But the sheer joy of, particularly this summer, sitting down with a book and just immersing yourself is just a pure joy. I had completely forgotten how good that is.
It's what I'm trying to encourage people, and I'm really positively surprised how many young people come to our store and they want to have a physical book because, I mean, Kindle or any other e-reader, it's a distraction. If you have internet connection, let me just check my email. Something pops up. If it's just like a Kobo, like an e-reader, then it's fine. I mean, you can take it to wherever you're going, to the beach. But then there is a problem. If you take your e-reader to the beach, somebody probably is going to steal it. Nobody's going to steal the book. I mean, I never heard that anybody left a book on a towel and somebody stole the book. So that's one benefit of it. And I personally love the smell of new book, like how new books smell, and also sometimes the old books, like, you know, going through them and flipping the pages, and also the sound. And I don't know, it's easy to find something for me in a book, because if I read something like nonfiction, then you need to go 2 chapters back to try to find the data or information, and on e-reader it's much harder to find this.
Having lots of conversations with people about reading, everybody's saying the same thing. Holding a physical book, physically turning the pages, putting a nice bookmark in or turning the page. It's a very sensory thing, isn't it? Reading an actual book.
It's not just your eyes are focused on the words, because you shut down the world around you. People see you with the book, they will leave you alone. When you're on the phone, somebody can interrupt you. Hey, can I ask you a question? Even at the airport or at the train station. But when you read a book, people are generally more respectful. I don't know. It's just the feeling of holding it, the weight of the book, and I mean the cover. We want to see a lovely cover. You know what they say, like cover sells the book. If you find a nice cover, you're gonna buy the book. If you find online a picture of a cover, it's not the same. It's not so invitational. And some people listen to audiobooks, which is fine, but it's all about how we like to read or how we like to absorb information. And for me, I cannot listen to audiobooks because I'm very visual. I need to see the letters in front of me, and just it's not a distraction for me.
I think it's interesting what you're saying, isn't it? If you're commuting, an audio book is great, your Kindle is great, but it's making that space and time to sit down with the physical book is just amazing. It can be just a bit of downtime. There is something very special.
It's you're entering another world. Like if you read a fiction, whatever fiction you're reading, like I think J.K. Rowling or somebody said like, or Tolkien, they said like, if you read, you live 1,000 lives. And I don't have 1,000 lives in front of me, but I can get a lovely book, get engaged in it, and the world disappears around me. And when you read a book, when you grab the book, when you sit in your favorite chair or wherever you're reading, it's just you're dedicating time, you're immersing yourself into a story, and you try to shut down the world around you. So it's a different feeling.
And I think that's very important. We have so much technology in our lives. And yes, we can read a book, we can read a magazine on our phone, but it's making that time to sit down and just sort of decompress and go into another world, as you say.
It's time for yourself. We need to have time for ourselves. I mean, life is sped up in the last 10, 20, 30 years. Everything is much faster. We have faster computers. We can fly faster to other parts of the world. But still, we're not dedicating enough time for our own either meditation or time for ourselves. Or just, it doesn't have to be 3 hours a day, 10 minutes. Just to know that you did something for yourself because you want it. You are not pushed by media. You're not forced to do something or feel guilty. Even some people feel guilty when they read because I should do this, I should do that. And then some other people, they spend hours and hours on social media or watching TV, and then they claim that they don't have 10 minutes to read. So, it's just sharpening your axe. That's what I think Abraham Lincoln said. Like, sharpen your axe, and doesn't have to be business stuff, doesn't have to be lovely, trendy fiction book, whatever your heart desires, grab it, read it. If it's not good, grab another book, and that's it.
I must admit, I'm one of these people that can have sort of 3 or 4 books on the go at the same time.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people say, how can you do that? But if you're reading a book for education, then you've got your sort of novel you pick up and do a couple of pages before you go to sleep. Do you do that?
Yeah,
or do you a one book at a time person?
I read many years ago, some smart guy said that if you read, I don't know, non-fiction for like 30, 40 minutes and you feel tired, grab fiction, because it's a totally different topic, totally different focus, and your mind is going to be fresh. So we're not tired by reading books. We're tired of the topic. And, it's normal. Like if I read many business books for my previous career, and after 30, 40 minutes, an hour, I'm tired. And then I grab a lovely fiction and I'm totally fresh and I'm engaged in it. So, but it's not for everybody. You need to know yourself.
So one thing I wanted to talk to you, Alan, is about children and reading. In your shop, you've got a fantastic section for children. What is going on in the world of children reading now? Are they coming in for books? Are they all electronic? What are kids doing?
Let me share one quick story. There was a Spanish mom with 4 kids. She walked in and she said, I don't speak language well. I want my kids to learn English. She asked each child to pick one book, and she's going to read with them, although she doesn't speak English. She said, I'm going to try everything in my power to read it, just to have this habit of reading, not just learning the language. I think she bought like standard books like Cinderella or Pinocchio. But it's not about that. It's about creating a habit of having book near you, having book in your hands, and doesn't matter if you're a 3, 4, 5-year-old child or 99-year-old person. I feel like books are they're good companions, and they can give us insights and ideas and work on imagination. Just I can tell you a quick story. I have twins at home, boy and a girl, and they are so different. But when the reading time is like when I'm trying to encourage them to read, and the girl, she's okay with it. Boy, he complains because he doesn't want to read English. Now he learns Spanish, so he wants to read in Spanish. And I said, I don't care what language, just read 10 minutes a day, 3 pages, and then we can talk about it. So it's creating a habit.
I mean, that's a great idea, even as an adult. 10 minutes a day or 3 pages. We can all do that.
Definitely. I mean, check your phone, right? And there are apps that can tell you how long you've been daily on your phone. And we have 12 hours that we are awakened from, I don't know, if you work 8, 9 hours, if you entertain with your family, still you cannot tell me you cannot find 10 minutes. You don't want to. If you don't want to, that's another story. But creating habit is all about, maybe you don't like it today. Read 10 pages or 10 minutes. Tomorrow do it again. Tomorrow do it again. After a week or two, it's going to be semi-automatic, and after 3, 4 weeks, we can change any habits.
So let's talk about you opening the Book Lovers Bookstore here in Valencia. How did this come about?
Well, we moved to Valencia, and the problem was I wanted to buy books locally here, and I went to a Corte Inglés, and they had really only the newest books, not what I was looking for. Then I went to some secondhand shops, and 99% of the books are in Spanish, which is logical, and only small shelf in English. What am I passionate about? And I was always passionate about books, not just reading, writing as well. And I said, why shouldn't we try? Let's find nice space and find the distributors and find the connections and try with used books first and see how it goes. And it's not about money. I mean, these days nobody's getting rich selling books, right? There are better ways to do it. But it's about creating community or safe space where people who love books, and that's why we named the store Book Lovers. They can walk in, we can talk about books. You don't need to buy anything. I'll share something. You're going to share your favorite books with me. And you came as a stranger. We can maybe, shake hands and become new friends, or long-term wise, just to have an environment where people can socialize and talk about their favorite stuff.
Now, you're really active on social media, and I see that you're actually starting your own book club now. In the store. Let's talk about that.
We had actually last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a book club that was run by our friend. But we are moving, if I may share this, we are moving on December 1st to a much bigger space where we're going to have a space for book club, but we're also going to have extra space for presentations, book signings, book readings, a kids club. So I would like also to have a book lovers international meeting, once a month or twice a month, where people just can come. We can talk about the books and just socialize, because many people who live in this city, they don't have many friends. Some people I met, they're just 3 or 4 months in Valencia. Some people a little longer, but they don't have many connections with other people, and they don't know language well enough. So maybe we can, do something in English and just socialize.
I think that's a brilliant idea, because although the shop is called Book Lovers, it's growing. You're sort of spreading the actual shop into a book group, a big book club. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea.
I asked few people what they think, and many people, we did even survey online, and majority of people said they would like to do first book club, and second they would like to do social events. And why not? We have a space. I mean, there is an interesting lady I met a week ago. She walked Camino de Santiago, all the way from Holland, over 3,000 kilometers. I mean, and I know I would be interested to hear the story, 20 minutes. Let's just do a little panel or conversation about it with people in the audience. They can ask questions, and let's do that. There are people who are interested in topics that's just beyond books. And there are books that talk about it, right? So trying to connect the social part with books, and so far I see there is interest for that.
I think that's an absolutely brilliant idea, because it's rather like the podcast. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a passion, experience, or something. You think everybody needs to know about this.
I think so. There was a lady saying, I'm volunteering, I'm gonna read to kids. Like Saturday morning, 10 a.m. or 10:30, 30 minutes, preschool kids, bring them in. We're gonna read something. We're gonna have some fun. After that, like a first or second graders, they have their chance. So little by little, like just creating this, I would say this book lovers society. I don't know what's the right word.
Book lovers family.
Family, even, yeah, where we can talk about not just books, but something that connects us beyond books. We'll see.
All I can say, I mean, this is just great. You're going to be moving to a new premises shortly, which now enables you to build that community with the children's reading groups, people coming to talk about their story.
And maybe we can bring some good authors. Like I have people, there is an American lady, she wrote few books, she lives here. There is another Australian guy who wrote few books, he lives here. We can do book readings. Like, just read except for a book and talk about motivation. There is interest about the workshop, how to write a book. Anything. Like, why not?
I can see it grown into an empire, the book lovers' empire.
That would be. I have to be honest. Moving here, I mean, as a foreigner, you don't have many friends, right? And through books, we can get some connections. We can share our stories. We can listen to each other. We can have a drink together. And, it's...
And let's face it, people who enjoy reading are very special people.
Oh, I mean, if I meet you for the first time and you share your favorite book title with me, and I like that book as well, you're my friend immediately. I don't care about your history, about anything else. This is a different connection, right? A better understanding.
But I love the idea, though, of having the children's reading groups. And if people are interested in, I'm quite happy to do that. I'll read to this age group, someone else will read to an older age group. I think that is just phenomenal.
And how can we instill the passion for books if we don't give something to kids, right? And this is the way to teach them, to train them. Like, come there once a month, twice a month. Somebody's going to read a book, and you can grab the book, you can read by yourself, and slowly create this habit, get them hooked on books, right?
And I think it's that getting kids particularly away from technology.
Exactly, because I know, I mean, whoever listens to this podcast, if you have kids, you know how much time they spend online, and we try to limit it. But, instead of grabbing the phone, grab the book. Read 2-3 pages. Give them a little motivation to do that. And, it pays big benefits down the road. I see how my kids' vocabulary changed just by reading.
I think that's a very valid point, because when people first come to another country, and we're all sitting here in Valencia, so we're all learning Spanish, they always say reading is a really good way, because it's vocabulary, it's sentence construction, it's grammar, it's the whole thing pulled together. I'm not saying it's easy.
No, definitely not.
I'm not saying it's easy at all, but it is definitely a way to sort of bring it all together. And I have to say, I've got a Spanish fiction book, and I've gone through, and it's highlighted in different colours with vocabulary and sentence construction. Reading in another language is a great way for education. And I think as an adult, we think that we're not going to be the beginner. And people say, get a children's book. Maybe get a story you're familiar with, like Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, one of those. Story you're familiar with, and start with a child's book and see how you get on.
Yeah, and some people actually came to our store, Spanish kids, teenagers, they would like to read Harry Potter now. In English, because they know the story, right? They want to read it in original language, but they can connect easier, right? So it's why not, right? Same for us. I actually have a book here, and we sold tons of it. Spanish/English short stories. On one page you can see the Spanish short story, and immediately on the other page, opposite page, it's in English. So you can track or trace where you are, and try to improve your knowledge.
I've got one of those, the parallel text stories.
Why not? Yeah. It's something.
So I think it's, as us as adults, and as you say, both of us, we're learning Spanish. It is using reading as a way to improve our levels, definitely.
Because if you go to have a conversation with somebody, I mean, you don't know how to structure a sentence. So you need examples, and through books, through even if it's just a fiction, but there is a dialogue in it. You know how the sentence looks like, right? And even somebody suggested read it out loud. See how it fits into your ear. Sentence from the book, and that's how you can train yourself if there is motivation.
There is definitely an art to reading out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Some people have got that ability. I love to be read to. I mean, audio books are great, and a lot of them are available on something like YouTube now. Mm-hmm. But being reading to, it's quite relaxing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And I guess, does that take us back to our childhood of the bedtime stories when we were kids, I guess?
That's one way. And also historically, I read one book how coal miners in Ireland or England, they were working in a coal mine, and during the break, somebody was reading books to them, like in 19th century even. Why not, right? You are trying to relax, but your brain is, you may be your body's tired, but your brain is not. So why not? And through, like you said, like when parents were reading to us, or through our schooling process, right? It's there. Why not to use it more often?
And I think for children it's very important, this bedtime story, whether that still happens or whether it's now on Audible or they put a CD or they just download something. But I have great memories of my dad putting me to bed and sitting there. He never read a book. He had 4 stories that he made up. Wow. And it was a case of, which of these 4 stories do you want? One of my regrets is I never got my dad either to write those stories out or to record them.
No.
I mean, I treasure the memories, but I would love to have had those stories written down.
Even just for you, right?
Even just for me.
It, yeah.
I really do think the joy of a parent and a child having that time with a bedtime story, I think is just magical.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's all what it takes, 10 minutes. And we can hide behind we are tired, overwhelmed with work, with life. But come on, 10 minutes for your most important people, right?
And make those memories.
Make the memories. They remember it, right? And they can actually, I'm trying to force my kids to repeat what they heard, like how they understand it. And, at the beginning it was hard, but now they realize, I can learn something from the story, right?
So I think this is the interesting thing about reading. It's reading for children, building memories. It's people connecting through their love of books, whether in the shop, whether in a reading group, whether in a book club, people presenting the books they have written. What you're doing here, Alen, is absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I'm busy spreading the word to people, where you are, how to get here.
Thank you so much, Eli.
I mean, for me, it's an absolute dream having an English bookshop here. You do have books in lots of other languages. You've got brand new books, secondhand.
No, only in English. Everything is in English.
Everything's
only
in
English. Only in English. We would like to stick with that because, there is a need by expats, there is need by local population. And if you cannot afford new book, that's fine. New books are, fiction books, 12, 13, 14 euros. We have used books for 3, 4, 5 euros, even some books for €1. But there is no excuse. Like if you say, I don't have money, I'll give you a book and bring money when you can. If not, it's fine. Just show me that you love books and we'll find a book for you. And it's important as well for people who are foreigners to the city, for locals as well, because they cannot find good quality English books to improve the language because they're struggling. Lots of people here, they're struggling with English, especially young generation. I'm surprised how bad they speak English. I have kids walking in and they're looking for books, so there is a need and we're here to help people.
So it's good to hear that the world of books is very much alive and kicking.
I would say I was surprised when we opened a few months ago. I was surprised in the last few months how books are needed in this city. How many people, I don't know how many people walked in saying, oh my God, great source, great choice. Like, who's picking these books? Like, oh, you guys have amazing shelves filled with good quality books. And just it fills my heart because, yes, we're here to help you with that. We're here to find your next great read. If it's just to relax or is it to learn something, doesn't matter as long as you're reading.
Well, Alan, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. And I wish you lots of luck with the new premises. So I cannot wait to come down and visit your new shop and see everything you've got planned for people in Valencia with the book lovers.
We have big plans, so please help us, support us, and come stop by. And we are more than happy to hear your feedback, what you feel like it's missing or lacking, or your feedback in general. And Sheila, thank you so much for having me today in your podcast.
You are very welcome. Thank you, Alan. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. It is free, and if you would like to tell your story, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story.